Hello there, welcome to another episode of Canada's Movie and TV Hosers. If you're watching this, thank you very much for watching our show and supporting our content. I'm your host, Gregory Barrett, and with me is my lovely wife, Christine.
Hi, everybody.
This is a show where we discuss all things we love in pop culture, movies, trailers, TV, books, sometimes other things. Now, to start off the show, did you have something for us, Christine?
Yeah, I just want to say happy birthday to my parents. My mom's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Mom. And my dad's birthday is coming up in a couple days. So happy birthday, Dad.
Hey, happy birthday, you guys out there, to my in-laws there. So, to break it down for you guys today, sometimes we discuss news. There's no news for today. We don't have any new trailers to discuss, unless you had any news or anything you want to bring up.
No.
Okay, so we just got a bunch of reviews. We're going to be doing about 4.5 reviews. Now, we're here today on the rooftops of Gotham City, because what's the worst that could happen, right? I mean, it's Gotham City.
Is he going to come or is he not going to?
Well, Batman's hanging out here, so I'd rather have him hanging out with us rather than not if we're in Gotham City.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about The Dark Knight from 2008. We're going to be talking about The Dark Knight Rises from 2012.
Right.
We're going to talk about the Jesus Revolution that I saw yesterday.
Okay.
I posted a reaction.
That's a change of topic.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe Gotham City does need more Jesus. I don't know. We're going to talk about Star Wars The Bad Batch, new episode from Season 2 from this week. And then at the end, we're going to talk about a classic. We're going to talk about Season 2 of The Big Bang Theory, which is one of my personal favorites.
Okay.
So, let's get started. Last weekend, we watched my DVD copy of The Dark Knight, which is from 2008. I've had this movie all this time, probably watched it 30 times now, with lots of different people, so that's one of the great things about physical media. This is my copy, I can watch it as many times as I want.
You and your physical media, yes.
So we watched The Dark Knight, which is it's a great movie, and it's still one of the best comic book movies of all time, according to a lot of people. I would agree with that, I'd say. Now, since these are older movies, we're going to spoil these, okay? We're going to spoil The Dark Knight here. So, would you like to start off? What are your thoughts on The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan?
Well, I saw it back in the day when it first came out.
Did you see it in theater?
I think so. I think I did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I saw it a long time ago. And no, this is probably my third watching of it. I'm thinking. I think it was on TV before and I watched it.
Did you?
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great film. Heath Ledger's performance is fantastic. He's such a weird Joker. He's so weird.
Yeah, it's different from the previous one we had with Jack Nicholson and the one from, what was the other guy's name? Cesar Romero?
I don't know. I just really enjoyed his course for Heath Ledger. Yeah, I think it's good. It is a little bit long, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, all of Christopher Nolan's movies are too long. This one is 2 hours, 32 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not the longest of his Dark Knight trilogy, but I still say this is the best one.
I think so too.
I mean, people still to this day, you'll still see kids out at Halloween doing Heath Ledger's Joker. That's how popular it is. It still comes up.
Just not around here.
Well, in some places, it's still a classic one there. This is one of the better versions of the Joker that we had. It's way better than Cesar Romero there. Remember that one?
Yeah, and I also enjoyed the Joker movie.
The Joker movie.
That was a different take on it. I did enjoy that as well.
I
think his performance
I didn't
is the
enjoy
best.
that movie, although that's the only other movie besides Aquaman, the only other DC movie to make $1 billion.
Well, it was really interesting, and I loved how gritty it was, and it was much more of a realistic type of film. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but
they always want to make
this
these
performance
realistic.
Was the best.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, unfortunately, Heath Ledger is not around anymore, so there's tragedy surrounding this film.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Maggie Gyllenhaal replacing Katie Holmes as Rachel?
Yeah, I think she did a good job.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in anything recently.
I'm not really a huge fan of Maggie Gyllenhaal. Her brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, is more successful.
I don't know what she's up to. She's off having kids or something, but she hasn't been in any movies. But that's the problem with women in Hollywood, right? They get a lot of movies when they're in their 20s, and then once they get their 30s, 40s, no one wants knocking on their door anymore. Anyway, maybe
if they're
we'll
good,
see her
they
again.
do.
Not necessarily, no. It's all women in their 20s. That's
I think
what
she
the
was in her
movies are
30s
all about.
when they did
Anyway,
this.
well, I thought it was good.
Katie Holmes, I think, made a mistake not coming back for this movie. It's Katie Holmes, you know. Does anyone really remember her that much?
Yes. I'd rather her than
Gyllenhaal?
No, I'd rather Gyllenhaal.
Than Katie Holmes?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's much more sober. Like, for this film, for the tone, she's much more sober person. She has a lot of, I don't know, emotionality. Katie Holmes doesn't.
Okay. I don't really have any preference when it comes to either of these actresses for these Batman movies. Christian Bale is back as, I'm Batman. Yeah. I'm doing this voice. Because everyone loves the voice.
Well, he's trying to get better with the voice, I guess. But
yeah,
I mean,
people still rip on him to that this day.
It's still, I like it. It's good, although it's a bit long.
Yeah. I'm not going to go on about Heath Ledger's Joker. It's great. One thing I do want to talk about is Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face. Yeah. So I really enjoyed this version of Two-Face.
Yeah, he was just getting going though when he ends.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I didn't like about it. I'm like, he gets set off and he's going around terrorizing, being a crazy psychopath. He never becomes the gang leader in this version.
Yeah, but there's the whole reason. This is the whole plot of it, is because they don't want people to know what happened with them, and that's the whole plot of these two movies, really. This one and the next one.
The ending of this one, once again, we're spoiling this because this movie's 15 years old now. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and jump to the next section. I got the time codes down below in the description.
Yeah.
They left the end of the movie ambiguous, I believe, on purpose with Two-Face. Is he dead? Is he not dead? Oh. Now we find out in the next one, yeah, he died.
I thought he was
which
dead.
I didn't like that, personally. I want to see more Two-Face.
The problem is that I think is a decision made, because the whole theme of it is that he's the only one in Gotham that's giving people hope, and Batman's not able to do that. Well, he's not. There's people against Batman in this, so the city is so jaded. So they need Harvey Dent. This is the whole premise of it.
Yeah, that's the thing in the movie. Harvey Dent is the White Knight, and Batman is the Dark Knight.
Yeah, they need. They're looking for someone that the city will look to, you know. But then when he turns so sour and becomes a villain,
because he goes crazy,
they don't want anybody to know about that, and that leads into the next movie, and that causes problems then in the next movie. Yeah. So, and Batman's able to take it on, and he just goes into exile.
You know, they could. I'll mention this more when we talk about the next one, but they could actually bring him back. They could say he didn't die, but then he died later, and they could do another movie with him right afterwards where Batman has to take him down.
I kind of like that they killed him.
I didn't at all. I want to see more Two-Face.
It's really interesting, because a lot of these villains, they never die. And I think this was a turn against that, because that's the thing. These villains, they always keep on coming back.
But that's what I like about it.
I just thought it was a different plot twist. I enjoyed it.
It's one thing that I don't like about not just how they end this with Two-Face from this movie, but more so in the next one, because then they say he's dead. But it's one thing it's a gripe that I have about all comic book movies. Why are they always killing off their villains? You have these amazing villains. You don't kill them off. You want them to come back and do more.
Well,
whereas it's like Batman 89 kills the Joker, right? And then it's Batman Returns. Oh, we gotta kill Penguin and Shrek.
Yeah, but with this one, this was the whole plot of the film. That's why it happened. This was the whole idea around this film, was that Batman takes the blame. He becomes a Dark Knight.
Yes, I get that.
That's the whole point of it.
And then that leads into the next movie.
Yeah, that was the whole plot of the whole thing.
And I get
that, but he had to die.
they didn't kill off Heath Ledger's Joker, And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's great. They could bring him back. Unfortunately, what happened to Heath Ledger happened. If you don't know about that, you might want to Google that. But he unfortunately died, let's say. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah,
so they couldn't bring him back.
No.
But I like it when they don't kill off villains so that they can bring them back again. Instead, now we're getting villains being brought back. Remember Spider-Man No Way Home? They brought back all these villains that were supposedly dead.
Yeah.
And they brought them back right before they died. So that's why you don't kill off your villains, because you want to use them again.
They were able to write it in. But I guess this leads us into the next film.
Now, hold on, we're not done with this one yet.
Okay.
What kind of rate? Okay, before we move on, so The Dark Knight from 2008. What rating would you give it? I give it best movie ever.
I really
Still
give it
to this day,
like
holds
a
up.
93, but it's a bit long.
Yeah. I found that with this one, I didn't feel it as much as with others. Say the first one or the third one. So that's our thoughts on Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight from 2008. What are your guys' thoughts on this movie? Do you think it's great? Have you seen it? Let us know down in the comments below. We'll read those out on the next episode. Now we're going to get into The Dark Knight Rises from 2012. So 4 years later, we got this. I saw this one in the theater as well. I think you came with me.
I don't know. I've seen it.
We saw that in Peace River.
Okay. We used to live in Alberta.
So
Go
this
Peace
one...
River.
This one is 2 hours, 45 minutes. It's way too long.
Way too long.
I say they should have cut anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes off it.
Yeah.
This is classic Christopher Nolan. And full spoilers, aside from his Batman movies, I'm not really a big Christopher Nolan fan. Although I do enjoy his Dunkirk movie. I
didn't see Dunkirk, but I understand that people really liked it. This one was a real slog to get through.
Yeah.
I was like, is it almost over? Is it almost over? And then you like pause it at one point. I was like, oh my gosh, we still have 45 minutes to go.
You kept thinking as we were watching it that it was almost over, and I was like,
nope,
it's not. It just keeps going.
I think the idea is why it's so long is because it's trying to demonstrate the torture that the citizens and the cops go through. I think this is the reason why it's so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we know, say, the Second World War, we know how long it was and how people had toiled, but in this movie it's showing us that, because of course this is a fake city. I think that's why it's so long.
The whole city of Gotham City is taken hostage for like 3 months. It's
really
crazy.
Bad.
The one part about how all the cops are trapped in the tunnels, 3,000 cops, and they survive, I think that's dumb.
Well, they don't all survive. A lot of them get killed.
Yeah, no, but they've survived for months underground in the tunnels.
Healthy.
I mean, really?
Well, people are trying to feed them. They should look like prisoners of war by the time they come out of there.
Yeah.
But they look pretty good.
These would be guys that would be like trapping rats to eat.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
They would be scrawny and malnourished and look like crap
and pretty weak
and probably have dysentery and everything.
I did enjoy
living down tunnels.
Showing the resistance and what they were doing. I did enjoy that. Like I think it was comparable to like the
it's too much though.
Second World War resistance or whatever, but it was just too long.
Yep. They in this movie they even added, going back to 2012, and because we've been getting these types of themes and references in movies for decades now, at least going back to the 90s, if not earlier.
Yeah.
This movie has themes about climate change and looking for the whole thing is that he's got green power, he's got a fusion reactor, so this is about clean energy.
Well,
and what do? Let's make it into a bomb.
I was thinking that they need more of an ice age so that the river freezes better.
So this is one of those movies where the villain, which is Bane, played by Tom Hardy, who's great, okay?
That is the fabulous thing about
that's the best Bane we've ever seen.
Movie. The voice of Bane is absolutely fabulous.
Through the mask, and he's got that South America.
Is the only thing.
I love Tom Hardy.
Right in my ears. I'm deaf in one ear. I don't know. It goes in my head. But that saves the movie. The voice of Bane, basically, saves the film.
Okay,
really.
Well, I mean, his size and the mask, and they don't get him to take off the mask. You see him only at one point in the mask, but it's a flashback.
Vader,
yeah, and the fact that they don't take it off, that's great, because too many times in these, whether it be comic book movies or franchise or genre stuff, they're always ruining it by taking off the mask. I'm like, no, he's supposed to have the mask on all the time.
It. And when it gets damaged, he gets really sick. I mean, I think the villain, the real villain, is great, but it takes too long.
We
to
can
get
spoil
to that
it.
point.
Once again, this movie is 11 years old.
Okay.
So he's the villain, but he's actually the henchman. He's working for Talia al Ghul.
Yeah.
And this was really smart on their part because they made The Dark Knight with the Joker, which is hands down the most popular Batman villain. Okay?
Yes.
Can you think of a more popular villain than the Joker? There isn't one.
Well,
okay?
The
There's
voice
lots
of Bane, I tell you, it's pretty awesome.
Bane is a really good villain, but he's more of a modern villain, whereas the Joker villain is really old, and so is like others.
But the story of Bane, the way they tell it in this movie as well, is really deceiving. It's similar to Black Adam, the same kind of story.
I like how they did that.
Yeah.
So the real villain is Talia al Ghul, who is the daughter of Ra's al Ghul from the first movie, Batman Begins, in 2006, I want to say.
You see him a little bit.
Okay, and they brought back Liam Neeson for it as well.
He seems to be always up for everything.
It's Liam Neeson, man.
All he does is work, I think. I don't know if his family ever sees the man.
He's always working,
like the
and
hardest working
I don't
guy.
see a lot of his movies anymore because I'm kind of tapped out on him. But one thing you can say about Liam Neeson is even if you see one of his films now where he's just like going through they got these movies, they're kind of B movies, but whenever Liam Neeson shows up for one of these movies, he's there to work. He brings it.
I think he's in his 70s now too. I mean, him and
Liam
Pedro
Neeson?
Pascal are everywhere. The two of them. Pedro Pascal is like following in his footsteps.
Well, this is kind of the era of Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, but Liam Neeson's always there. He's in everything. He puts his heart into it.
Okay, we're getting on a tangent
anyway,
there. The point is that by connecting this story to the first movie, that's kind of a way of trying to top themselves because the second one was such a big movie, right?
Yes.
So, and that's a really interesting idea. The problem is they ruin it by putting in too much and then this... So the city's being threatened because we got clean energy, but it's being turned to a bomb, so the whole city's going to be blown up. Bane has taken hostage of the whole city, but really he's just working for Talia al Ghul, which I'll tell you a little something in case you're not so familiar with it, because Liam Neeson played Ra's al Ghul, her dad. He's head of the League of Shadows. This is in Batman lore. And in the comic books, and hopefully in live action soon, we're going to be getting a new version of Robin. It's called Damian Wayne. He is the 5th Robin, because there's I think there's like 6 Robins now. Or there was, maybe there's more. But anyway, he was the 5th Robin that was created, and Damian Wayne is his son. And not in this version in this movie, but Talia al Ghul is the mother of his son, Damian Wayne. But in the comics, Batman didn't know about it.
I think that they killed her off really quickly as well. I think we could have seen a little bit more from her. But the concepts that are in this movie are fantastic. It's just needed some
more editing.
Yeah.
More chopping down.
Of Batman being a retreat, and he's injured and he's not been seen for years.
There really wasn't much reason to have Catwoman in this.
No, she's just like an interesting part of it.
Good for Anne Hathaway getting this big role in this huge franchise, but does she do anything?
But it's interesting. Really? She brings him out.
Yeah, there's a lot of
she brings him out of high.
There's a lot of this class warfare. The people at the bottom versus the people at the top. That's what she brings, and that's the theme of this movie. I think they could have taken that out. It was too much.
Well, that's the reason why he comes out of...
Okay, so this movie starts off, it's 20 years later after The Dark Knight, and Christian Bale is 4 years older. So they slap a fake goatee on him with some gray hair. They put a little bit of gray on the sides of his hair.
He's really injured too. He's not in
he's got a busted up leg.
He's not in fine form at all.
But we don't know how that happened. Right. So I was thinking about this. They could just go back and make more of these movies, okay? I doubt they'll get Christian Bale to come back to play an older Batman at his current age, because Christian Bale goes on about how he hated doing this and how the suit's so uncomfortable and he couldn't go to the washroom in the suit and he's wearing it for hours on set. Actors don't like wearing these suits. And he also said he would never do another comic book movie, but then we just saw him in Thor Love and Thunder as the villain.
Well,
not so bad with the makeup.
He's good on things.
Christopher Nolan is not going to come back to make any more of these movies with Warner Brothers. Because Christopher Nolan hates Warner Brothers now after the fiasco during the pandemic. I'm not going to get started into that.
Well,
but
the thing is,
I was thinking, let me just finish this. So if it's 20 years later, they could just make a couple more Batman movies after The Dark Knight, okay, as a younger Batman, because they say in this movie the last confirmed sighting of the Batman was 20 years ago. So it doesn't have to be a confirmed sighting, right? He could be going after Two-Face for some reason because he got out of Arkham Asylum. Bring back Aaron Eckhart, recast someone as a younger Batman, but also they could, so if they could do movies from that timeline, they could also do movies after this. It's like, bring back Joseph Gordon-Levitt because he's going to be the next Batman, because apparently he's Robin in this universe. He doesn't play Dick Grayson or any of the other Robins from the comics. He's Detective Blake.
Yeah.
What's his first name again? Do you remember?
I don't remember. But he's the Resistance, essentially.
Yeah, so he's a cop, and he's good, but at the end of the movie, he's going to be the next Batman. So they could make a movie with him as Batman, and then suddenly, nope, Robin, you're not good enough to be Batman. Batman's got to come back and take over because you messed up, and Gotham City's not good. He's going to come out of retirement with Catwoman, and they could make more.
Yeah, but the whole thing is to make 3 good movies that tie into each other that are good. Making more just invites the possibility of terribleness.
You could say that for any sequel.
I know, but that's the thing. You can only do so many. Having a trilogy is a really tight number, and if you can make those link into each other, that's great. And I think that, and I really enjoy them. This one was too long. This is my least enjoyable one, for sure.
Is this worse or better than Batman Begins?
This is worse in my mind. I just wanted it to be over. It just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
And
maybe
I just
that one
wanted it to be over.
I would say, end of the day, this is probably the worst one for me as well of the Dark Knight trilogy. But I still give it a best movie ever. It's just, you can't watch it very often because it's too goddamn long.
I give it more of an 87. I would say, because I just wanted it to be over. It has great concepts in it, though. It has great plot stories, which I really enjoy, but it needed a chunk of it, or it needed to be 2 movies. I don't know, but it's just too long.
I think they just put too much in. They should have cut it out. Well, that's our thoughts on The Dark Knight Rises from 2012. Did anyone else see this movie in the theater? What are your thoughts on it if you've seen it, or if you haven't? Watch it and let us know your thoughts on it. Does it still hold up today? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. We'll read them out in the next episode.
Gregory can talk about Batman all day.
Yeah,
I don't even talk about Spider-Man.
We need to move on. So yesterday I saw Jesus Revolution.
Oh.
Starring Kelsey Grammer and a bunch of people I've never heard of.
Yeah.
So I posted an out of the theater reaction for this, and I said, this movie, I had some fun with it. There's a few laughs in it. It's some feel-good moments and everything. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't recommend this. The reason I went to go see this, I had a choice between seeing this movie, Jesus Revolution, or I could have gone to go see Emily, which is out here right now in limited release.
Is this about Emily Bronte?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember. I read the description and I was like, neither of them sounded interesting to me. So I looked both of them up on Rotten Tomatoes, and Emily had a high critic rating.
Yes.
And Jesus Revolution had a high audience score. So I'm like, well, I never agree with the critics because they always want like all this pretentious garbage stuff in the movies. So I went with the audience. Apparently that was a bad choice on my part because this is
I didn't like the look of this when I saw it.
This is a movie for evangelicals. This is for Christians in the U.S. Full transparency, I'm not a Christian, so these kind of messaging doesn't really speak to me. It is a nice story, and I did have fun with it, but I couldn't really recommend it unless this is really your thing. If you're a hardcore evangelical in the U.S. or outside, this would be good. But it didn't really speak to me. Even though it was a fun story, it just wasn't that interesting.
Didn't look interesting to me at all.
And it was 2 hours, so I'm like, no, come on, I don't need to see this.
I would have gone to see Emily. It's actually a part fictional portrait of Emily Bronte. That's what I thought. I would much rather go see that.
Okay.
because I love it. Just the costumes alone. But this movie, again, is supposed to be in 1969 and is about hippies. I am so sick of movies about hippies in 1969. Because you know what? You didn't spread peace and love. You turned all commercial and went into the 80s and were money grabbers and just... I'm just so done of the hippies.
Why you got so much against hippies?
With hippies.
What did they do to you?
Well, they took all my jobs, and I couldn't get a job, and they keep on staying working, and I can never get a job.
That's a generation thing. That's not the hippies' fault.
I'm just sick of hippies from 1969.
The hippies were part of the boomer generation, okay?
Yeah.
Which you and I are not part of that generation.
Hearing about it. I mean, they were dirty, they were smelly, they all had to grow up, and they left their principles behind. That's all I'm going to say.
Christine doesn't really like hippies. I'm rather indifferent. They got this one guy, Jonathan Rumi, and he plays Lonnie Frisbee in this movie. And apparently this is like the only movie I've ever seen him in. I don't recognize any of the other things. The Good Wife on TV. Anyway, so this guy, what's his name here? Jonathan Rumi, he plays Lonnie Frisbee.
Okay.
And he's dressed up to look like he is hippie Jesus. Okay? They even mentioned at the beginning how like he looks like Jesus.
Okay.
And he's a hippie.
So like the buddy Jesus?
And he acts like he's constantly high all the time. So he's not as happy as you mean the Buddy Christ?
Yeah, the Buddy
from
Christ.
Dogma, where he's like...
Yeah, the Buddy Christ.
The Buddy Christ. Check out Dogma if you haven't. That's a great reference. With George Carlin's in that. He's the one promoting the Buddy Christ.
Buddy Christ.
So this guy's playing hippie Jesus, and he's doing his best Matthew McConaughey impression. Oh. Except he doesn't say his catchphrase, you know, right on, right on, right on.
Right.
Now, I'm guessing you're a big McConaughey fan.
I
don't really
not.
care.
I am not.
Okay. You know women like Matthew McConaughey.
Not this one. Anyway.
So this guy's he's playing Matthew McConaughey as hippie Jesus.
Oh.
Kelsey Grammer's in it. This isn't top tier Kelsey Grammer work, but he's doing his best. Okay?
It's not a comedy. He doesn't get a comedic role, does
There is some comedy in it.
Oh, okay.
And end of the day, this isn't about it's not a conflict movie, it's not an action movie. It's not a mystery, it's not a thriller. It's about this time period and it's about these people. It's a feel-good story about people, and it focuses on Christianity, which, okay. I didn't recommend people watch this, and while I did have a fun time, I'm never going to see this again, and it didn't really jump out at me as being really good. It was just kind of okay, and okay to me means easily forgettable, you know, because nothing really stands out. So
right.
A week from now, I'm not even going to remember this. And because of that, I give it a worst movie ever.
Was it a true story?
It's based on true events that happened in the U.S. in the late 60s, early 70s, which is the time period for this movie.
Okay.
It takes place over a little bit of time. And it's, if this is your thing, you want feel-good stuff about people, about the past, if you remember this era, maybe you were a hippie back in the day, I don't know. Or if you have better thoughts about hippies than Christine here does.
I'm just so sick, and I can't stand people that are high. They're so irritating.
If you want to see, stuff about Christianity and a nice feel-good movie, I'd recommend it. But otherwise, I'm like, don't bother. It's not that interesting. But did anyone else go see this? It currently has. See, it has a 54% critic rating, and it now has a 99% audience score. 99%. And yesterday when I looked, it was 100%. So I'm like, I gotta see this. But this is the evangelicals.
Well, I was going to say, when you're dealing with religion and your whole church goes, are you going to say you didn't like it? I don't know. You don't want to be the odd man out.
This is... Well, it's not just that, but who is this movie targeted against? For. It's targeted for Christians and evangelicals.
Again,
mostly. So that's who's going to go see it. So me seeing it, I'm not the target audience. I'm like, what is this? It's right. Nice, but it doesn't speak to me.
There aren't any hippies anymore.
Did anyone else? Maybe you're a very devout Christian and you want to go see this movie. And if you liked it, I don't want to take anything away from you. Or even if you're not a Christian and you enjoyed this movie, if you enjoyed it, don't let me take that away from you. It just didn't really speak for me. But let us hear if anyone else saw this movie and what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed it, if you did, why not? We want to hear from you. We'll read it out on the next show. Are you going to go see this before we move on?
No. When I saw the preview, it just made me mad.
Was it the hippies?
Yes, the hippies.
It was the hippies. Okay, moving on. We got Star Wars: The Bad Batch. We're getting more of Season 2, Episode 10. What was this episode? Do you remember?
Yes, this was about the scum and villainy.
They were getting their stuff back that they lost in the previous episode.
Star Wars.
Because the crossing episode, things weren't going too good for them.
No, they still aren't going the greatest, but it just demonstrates something that we already know, that there's a lot of places out there in the Star Wars world there's slave labor, there's a lot of slaves, there's a lot of big problems. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of suffering out there, and there's no one to help these people.
Okay, you're bringing it down. The point of this episode, this was a way more fun episode. So, a spoiler if you didn't watch the last episode.
Was that fun?
This kid stole their ship while they were digging in a mine. So they're like, what's going on? So they go to get their ship back because this kid stole from the wrong people. Now, it could have been worse. He could have stole from the Empire or a Sith and he'd be dead. But he stole from the Bad Batch and they make him get his ship back. Well, they go get it, but they make him come with them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm noticing a theme in this season. I don't know if you've noticed it. They meet a lot of people. Like, they're always meeting people, but they always keep meeting people. And as I'm watching the episode, usually I get about halfway through and I'm thinking, is this person going to join them? Join the Bad Batch? I'm thinking, was this kid going to join them? Was Captain Rex going to join them? Was that Wookiee Padawan going to join them? They keep meeting all these people. Is Sid going to have to live with them now on their ship? Are they going to have to get a bigger ship or a second one? Because I could have seen them adding that Wookiee Padawan. Because then you got a former Jedi with them. They're all fugitives. And then you draw in more people that aren't into the Bad Batch because now you got Jedi and lightsabers, right? Which is what a lot of people want to see, and the Bad Batch doesn't really have this. Now, this Star Wars show is great. It's so good. It doesn't need the Jedi. That's just my thoughts. What do you think about this?
Well, they shouldn't bring on a Jedi because it would bring more heat, for one thing. They're trying to lay low. They haven't brought anybody on, they're just losing members, really. That's the theme. I just really think it was just showing how bad the universe is out there in the Star Wars at this time. A lot of slavery, a lot of people struggling, The Empire's taking over right now, because they're taking over, because they've destroyed the Republic. Really have anything to do with the Empire, it just shows, like, the greeniness of people and how they can, Well, it's not. And there's no law in this place. It's not every episode, but the whole point of this series is it's all about the clones, and while it's showing you their lives in this very interesting time period, according to me, which is right after Revenge of the Sith, right when the Emperor takes over, and now this is how he's dismantling not the old Republic, but the Republic. He's dismantling it, and every once in a while it shows up. These clones run into an instance where they're showing it, because they're not just, although it's not a story about bureaucrats, right? And it's very interesting to me how they present it. Such good storytelling. We've seen this before in a lot of Star Trek. When it comes to mineral extraction, for example, we've seen that the Star Wars universe is ruthless. If you're on a planet and it has something someone needs and it's in the ground, they're not going to care. They're going to not just in the ground. There's no conservation in the Star Wars universe. Well, there's no they're always killing animals that could be endangered or near extinct animals, and they're like, oh, there's only one of that thing, kill it. No, but there's no law in a lot of the places. There's no empire here. There's nothing. Yeah, it's the Wild West. Yeah, exactly. There's no law. There's no order. There's a lot of bad things, a lot of slavery and torture. And we've seen that a lot in the Star Wars all along with people being slaves. Even during the Republic, they're like, no, we'll just go beyond the Outer Rim. Like, you just look at Jabba the Hutt. I learned recently, because Tatooine, which is outside the Outer Rim of the Republic / Empire, but, still part of it. Apparently it's the center of the universe because they're always going there, which people are sick of, and I'm sick of too. It's just very ruthless and very, It's people out for their own gain. That's what it's all about.
I learned recently from from the Star Wars books that I've been reading that with the Republic, there's the core, there's the mid rim, and then there's the outer rim, and anything beyond the outer rim is beyond the Republic, right? Which is where Tatooine is, the center of the universe, apparently in Star Wars.
I don't know about this planet.
And there's I'll talk about more with the book. However, they're trying to operate. I don't know where they're operating because they're not really like they only went to Coruscant the once, right? But they want to stay away from the Empire. So I guess they're kind of hanging out with all the pirates and everything beyond the Outer Rim.
Well, I don't think you have to be beyond. There's a lot of lawlessness. I don't really think you have to be too much beyond the Outer Rim. If there's something there and a mineral or something and somebody wants it, they don't seem to care. And this, we've seen that.
Yeah.
They don't care about people either. They don't put any railings on any of their stairwells.
On their gantries. They need railings in this universe.
Non-safety first type of universe.
Yeah, I guess. But with all the violence, do people really live that long in Star Wars universe?
They don't seem to value.
People have to work just to get rations to live.
They don't seem to value human / like alien life.
Any kind of life.
Yeah. Anyway, so
good kitty.
I liked it. It was a bit sad, but it's more of a filler one. But they got the ship back.
I didn't think this was a filler at all.
I
liked this episode.
It's a similar theme again.
Oh, we're getting some noise from outside. It's bothering Fluffy Kitty. Hopefully that's not coming through.
Somebody's car alarm's
I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. I'm still enjoying the Bad Batch. I kind of want to see them have more characters, but we might also get more stuff of this is the team, but we might see more stuff outside of the team. Connected people like Echo and Crosshair and Captain Rex and
well, that's what I was hoping.
Who else is around at this time period?
Another just.
We're not going to see Yoda in the swamp.
Episode in a way.
I didn't think so. Are you not enjoying this show much anymore?
I just think there's been a lot of episodes where more interesting things could have been done. When they are done, when there is something interesting, it is very interesting. But there's been quite a few episodes now where take it or leave it. I don't.
Yeah, some people are calling it fillers. I'm starting to notice themes in them. So while I was saying that they were filler episodes too, I'm starting to notice themes throughout this season and also throughout the series.
Well,
so they're not quite.
We've already seen the same stuff over and over again. Them rescuing a kid. We know the universe is awful. We know they're all by themselves. I mean, we've seen it and seen it and seen it, I guess. Anyway, that's my feeling on it. I hope the next episode is a good one because when they are good, they are quite good. Anyway. We
got 6 more episodes coming.
Yeah.
I'm still really enjoying it. This is the best Star Wars stuff we got right now, and we're going to get The Mandalorian Season 3 really soon.
Yeah, this week.
So we're getting good Star Wars coming in February and in March. Are you guys watching The Bad Batch? You heard our thoughts on it? Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. Big fans of Star Wars or not? This is a great place to jump in, I recommend. Just start watching The Bad Batch. You don't have to see anything before. If you don't like it, don't watch it. If you like it, then there's always tons more stuff to watch. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. We'll read them out in the next episode. So that was our 4th review. Okay, so now we've got just one little quick review here. This is for...
Mom, stop watching at this point.
No. Please don't stop watching. We need people to watch this show. If you enjoy this episode, please like, okay? You can always subscribe. We post content here every week. I post content all the time. Now we're going to talk about Season 2 of Big Bang Theory. One of my personal favorites.
Okay. Do it quick.
Just because you don't like it doesn't mean other people can't like it.
I've seen it years ago. It's
so
like old news.
I'm just going to give you a quick update. As of Season 2, so the whole season, it's hilarious. Penny and Leonard, they try to get together, then they don't. At the end of the season, near the end of the season, we get introduced to Stuart, okay, and the comic book store, because he runs the comic book store. Sarah Gilbert was added as one of the main cast in Season 2, but she was in quite a bit of it, and they tried to bring her into the group in different ways, but then she left. I think it's 2008, 2009. Probably she left to go work on bringing back Roseanne, which they were working on bringing back around that time, which then became the Connors.
I think that was after that, but anyway.
Anyway, I don't know exactly why she left. That's just my suspicion. She was great in it. She was really funny as well. And at the end of the season, it's when the Sheldon, and then he makes all the other guys go with him. They do the dumbest thing. They decide they're gonna go to the Arctic for like 6 months. What a dumb thing to do for a scientific expedition. And they're stuck in the cold in like a shelter, and they're locked in there with Sheldon.
Well, that's the sucky part.
The funny thing about that episode was, as soon as Sheldon's like, "Guys, I've tentatively," they're like, "Up high!" And they're high-fiving and everything. They're celebrating before he even. They're so happy, and then suddenly they decide they're gonna go with him, and they make Wolowitz go. Oh man, such a dumb idea. And then Penny doesn't say anything, but she doesn't want him to go because she loves him, or something, I guess. It's a great show. I love it so much. I don't know why you're not watching it with me. So good.
A few reasons. I've seen it a long time ago. I find there's a problem with this show.
What's the
problem with the show is that if you're interested in science or anything like that, it typecasts you and it puts you like that you're a weirdo.
Oh yeah, it's very much all plays into stereotypes.
Yeah, but that's not a good thing. That's
funny.
not a good thing.
I think it's funny.
I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I get that.
I've had people say that you're Sheldon and I'm his girlfriend, and I don't enjoy that because they're jerks. I wouldn't want to be those people, but I've heard people say that about us.
Okay, so
and
you're talking about the stereotyping?
Yeah, I don't enjoy it at all. What's his girlfriend name? Amy?
Amy Farrah Fowler.
Yeah.
We haven't seen her yet. I've already started watching season 3.
People say that to me, and it's really insulting.
That I'm Sheldon?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I'm Amy.
I wish I was Jim Parsons.
No,
how much
not
money
Jim
that guy's
Parsons,
got?
though. Anyway, so, I mean, yeah, it's funny, but it's not helping. It's not helping.
It's perpetuating bias and stereotypes about nerds.
Women to be in science. It's not helping that at all, which is always a problem, or engineering, or those kind of things.
Weren't 2 of their wives scientists as well?
Yeah,
Amy
but
Farrah
they're
Fowler.
a bunch of freaks.
Well.
So this is a problem. So that's why, I mean, it is funny, but I'm not the greatest fan of the show.
Okay. Yeah, and also you're not into the stereotype humor as much as I am, I guess. But I can see how some people might be insulted by this because it's typecasting certain types, and so like I'm not anything like Sheldon Cooper in the show, okay?
No.
So if people are saying I'm Sheldon, I just laugh at that. But it bothers you, which I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take that away, but it doesn't bother me, and I find this hilarious. I just laugh at this stuff, and this is revisiting old friends, and that's why I'm enjoying it so much. So I haven't finished watching it yet, but it's definitely best series ever. I mean, it went for 12 seasons. You know how hard that is to go for 12 seasons, especially nowadays?
It's still, it's making people that are interested in science as weirdos. And that's why I don't like it.
I just find it fun. Fair enough.
We need a show that shows people interested
Christine
in
doesn't like the Big Bang Theory. I love the Big Bang Theory. Anyone else out there a fan? Or maybe you hate it. Let us know your thoughts down below. Why do you hate it? Okay, maybe you're like Christine. Maybe you hate it for other reasons. Let us know. Yeah. We'll read it on the next episode.
And we're not going to be doing a flag show, just to let you know.
Oh, this flag show. We haven't seen that yet.
We're not going
to I forgot about that.
I'm sorry if you're disappointed, but it's not going to happen.
The flag show. Yeah, that's... We could do a show of just us watching The Big Bang Theory.
Oh my gosh, no! I don't want that. Anyway,
okay.
Let us move on.
So let's wrap it up. Christine, how can people get in touch with us?
Don't ask us to watch more Big Bang Theory. You can email us at CanadaMovieTVHosers@gmail.com. You can suggest things that you might want us to watch. Nothing about hippies or Big Bang Theory, please. And you can find us on Twitter at Canada Hosers, where Gregory will post up all our new videos and content. You can follow him. He puts up reviews when he sees movies and shows at St. John's Critic on Twitter. And if you want to get our attention on Twitter, you can use the hashtag Canada Hosers. And we invite you to please like and subscribe. And that's all, I guess. Yep,
all those things will help us out. So from all 3 of us here, and I guess Batman here in Gotham City, we're gonna get off the rooftops now and hopefully nothing bad happens. Take care, everyone.
Bye.